Waiting for the red light.
What up? Let's get weird. It's your boy Tommy G here with the Friday Night Roundtable show. We got the whole cast of characters here. We got Jerry Scarface, who just measly another 200 grand. What a loser you are, Jerry. Win the fucking million already.
I felt like a loser that day.
Yeah, I mean, what'd you miss the million by this week?
3 points.
How many?
3 points.
I mean, come on, dude. Be better. Be better. 200 grand's not enough for this show. But outside of that, were you happy with your weekend?
It was a good weekend. Good weekend. Could have been better, but
isn't it crazy how if I would have told you on Friday you were going to go win a couple $100,000, you'd be like, fuck yeah. But then if you just miss $1 million, you're like, I fucking hate my life.
Because I was like right there, dude.
I know. Talking preaching to me and Healy know everything about that. It's
like when you're right there, you know how hard it is to get up there. And
oh, yeah. And everyone's like, no, you're getting hot. You're good. And you're like, no, that might have been my chance. So
I felt more like I lost 900K than
yeah, exactly. That's how I always feel. And it used to happen to me all the time. Brian Healy, how you doing today, my friend? Eagles playing the Cowboys this week. You got a big game here. Line looks a little fishy.
Yeah, I'm ready for Dak to put up a lot of stats and Birds to win by 100. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, as the inventor of Dak DFS versus Philly, we're probably going to run it back this week. Constantino, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to it. As mentioned last week, love this time of year. A lot of data in. Teams are who they are. You know, I think a lot of data, man. I love it.
All right. And the human Neanderthal
there he is.
who will probably be drunk mispronouncing names by the middle of the second game. The GOAT. What up, Trev?
Let's fucking go. I love money. That's why I'm here.
How was that?
It's actually the most normal intro he's ever had. He started with his Let's fucking GOAT, and it wasn't as insane as I thought. Trevor, since you're going to tell us all, what are you drinking today?
Well, I picked up this lovely bottle. Some Glenlivet 15.
Oh, this is different. You're usually the Johnny Blue.
Yeah, I still have some Johnny Blue, and it's still great. But, you know, let's change it up a little bit tonight.
Nice. What's everyone else drinking? You guys all drinking over there? Scarface is probably dead sober, ready to kill the world again.
No, I got some bourbon.
Attaboy, you got some invisible cup that blends into the green screen. There's the bourbon. What are you drinking, Healy?
Jefferson Ocean.
All right.
Jerry's recommendation.
Mike, are you dry right now?
Right?
Fortunately, I am. I have nothing here. I didn't run out. I didn't get
What a loser. Go grab one of those.
Canada Dry.
Yeah, grab a Canada Dry.
Good lead in, Tommy. Am I dry? Canada Dry.
I'm drinking literal moonshine. So we should have a very enjoyable show. We'll be fighting in about 7 minutes. So let's get to it, Healy. Let's start it off. Give me a little recap of last week, what you thought, where we went right, wrong, and what you're looking at for this week coming up.
I mean, recap. I should go to Jerry for a recap. I mean, the guy damn near won $1 million. But, I mean, it was...
Yeah, actually, fuck you. Jerry, how would you think of last week?
I mean, last week, all the plays we talked about, all my cores from the article, I pretty much built my entire lineup. I actually had 3 lineups in the Mega Milli. The one that was making the run early on was the one that I thought was going to make it to the top. That was a stack of Sam Howell, Curtis Samuel. I had Devon A-Chain, who was my slate edge play in my article. Zach Moss, Tyreek, Debo, Brevin Jordan, Rashad White. That one ended up finishing in 26th place. And then the lineup that came close to winning was Purdy, Rashad White, Zach Moss, Debo, Jonathan Mingo, who was my dog play for the week, Tyreek, Brevin Jordan, McCaffrey, and I went down to the bottom with Pat's defense. It ended up finishing in 3rd place, 3 points off the million.
Oh, my God. This fucking stinks so much. It stinks. At least you weren't on a fucking documentary getting fucked by a yard for fucking $1 million.
I didn't know. I didn't want the cameras around me.
Yeah, that'll live forever.
I mean, Tommy, I won 1,000 off a $150 lineup. Don't I, you know, just want to fucking tap my back for that?
I mean, I never know. You send us screenshots the whole fucking day, so we never know how you end up. It's like fucking. It's like one. It's like I know it is, but it's like one. That's the thing. You never know when it's real enough. It's like 108. He's like, I'm in first, and well, you just fight 3 plays about him. But
gotta start somewhere.
Go a little 10x. Go. You've been a little hot. You've been getting hot over there on DK. Huh?
I'm always hot. I just know how to build lineups. It's that simple.
You're just a goat. That's why we call you the goat. All right, Healy, give me a rundown of this week's slate. What do we got to worry about from a weather perspective? Shit like that.
Yeah, another week, some more weather. It doesn't look like anything extreme from a wind perspective. 10 to 15 miles an hour in some spots. Definitely going to be some rain. Again, looking in that northeast part of the country. Any home games up there. But we're back to 11 games, only 2 weeks, 2 games, 2 teams on bye this week. We do have 2 Monday night games, but really uninspiring in terms of totals. Only 2 totals over 44 points on the entire main slate this week. So I think you just have to, when you're building lineups, recalibrate expectations. Like, you're going to have to play into some of these games that have a 40-point total. Something we're not necessarily used to. We don't have guys we have to pay up for, like a Tyreek Hill last week. Sure, CMC's in a good spot, but I think it's a little bit more of a balanced build approach this week.
Yeah, I think the thing to do, I've been saying this a lot of late. Last night, stay cash in the day before, I said everyone, this game's 100% going over because everyone thinks it's going under, and we saw fucking 30 first half points in the Patriots Pitt game. So really? I think rather than targeting high totals, staying away from low totals, I'll just play it neutral. Just play it as if they're all the fucking same.
There's fantasy goodies in every game.
Yeah, there's no 55s, there's no 27s. They're all fucking 34 to 44.
Like picture last night's game was on the main slate and you faded it.
Yeah, and no one would have had a single player on it.
You wouldn't have had Zappy or Hunter Henry.
Zappy would have won. Zappy Henry would have been on the
dig him out.
Yeah, you probably honestly, Trev, you would have had Zappy, Elliott, Henry on the Millie Maker winning lineup last night.
Zeke probably would have been really owned on the main slate.
Correct.
Yeah, but not as much as last night's slate, obviously. But all right, so let's get to this. We're going to talk about each game from a DFS and a betting perspective. A little more DFS slant on this show, a little more betting slant on Stay Cashing and Behind the Paywall. Just so you guys know, if you are interested in coming over to 4deep.com, we have a promo code going in honor of Bill Rupp's birthday. It's the only thing useful he will ever do for you as human beings is have a birthday and let us do a promo for it. So in honor of Rupp's birthday, we're doing Rupp 45, RUPP 45.
Is Rupp 45 now?
No, he's 26.
No. He's actually 43, but we're using Rupp 45.
I'm older than Rupp.
Yeah. So
he looks like Benny, he's 63.
Yeah. I don't know if you could throw that on the bottom there, Benny. But if you can, I know he's like smoking weed in a parking lot somewhere in Hackensack. So we'll find that out fucking later.
McDonald's parking lot.
But guys, you can get in right now for the DFS and the betting combo package for a week for like fucking $20, like with this promo code. It's insane. So use promo code RUPP45, RUPP45 for 45% off the already discounted prices. The monthly's already discounted. So you're getting 45% off the discounted price. So RUPP45, get in now. And you can follow Scarface and talk to him about your lineup all Sunday morning. And then Healy's there too. So let's go to the first game. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. My boy Desmond Ridder, who's going to win his division. He's going to have a home playoff game, and he's going to win. And then his cards are going to shoot through the fucking roof, and I will have my vengeance, whether it's in this life or the next. What do we like here, Brian?
I think this is one of the games where we talked about 40-point total, but I think there's some fantasy goodies in this one. I think both quarterbacks, if from a value tier, if you're going down in this range.
Actually, you know what? Let me stop you here. I'm sorry to cut you off. Let me do the injuries first before we go. This game's pretty clean. The only thing is pretty much a questionable Matt Collins. Outside of that, we're pretty much clean on this game, and obviously weather's going to be fine in Atlanta. So, Healy, go on.
Yeah, so on the Atlanta side, Drake London, that price is kind of very tempting. 4.6K. I know, they're not letting the reins off. They're not letting Ridder chuck the ball like he was early in the season, but he's the guy that is getting the targets, from a wide receiver perspective. 4.6K, I do like him in that range this week. If you're playing Ridder, not a quarterback, I'm going to look to double stack because he does bring a little bit of that rushing upside. He can run balls in. So don't mind a little Ridder this week, but London's really the only guy I'm looking to pair with him. I'm not going to go down to a Van Jefferson, even the tight ends. I think there's just better tight ends in that same price range that I'm more confident in their target share. And then on the other side, the tough to run the ball against this Falcons team. I know Rachaad White's been very good in the passing game, so you can certainly use him there if you're building a lot of Baker stacks, but Mike Evans. This is the Mike Evans show. We really haven't seen any Chris Godwin ceiling games this year with Baker under center. This is a really good spot here for Evans. Terrell will be out again for the Falcons on the outside. And this is a spot like playing Mike Evans. You're either expecting 25 plus or he's not going to get 10. Like that's just the kind of receiver he is. So when I play him, he's the kind of guy that brings upside. So that price is very nice where I said, I don't feel like you have to spend way up this week. 7,700 is kind of a sweet spot for me You can fit several of those guys this week. So I like him a lot. And then Otten is the other Tampa Bay guy I was looking at. Middle of the field tight ends against Atlanta have found success. So double stacks with Mayfield, with Evans and Otten, or just single stacks with Mike Evans.
Yeah, Scarface, this is a spot here I think a lot of people are going to forget just because he sat for a couple weeks and was on the road and shit. Desmond Ritter's home road splits are, pretty insane, as we've noted before. And Drake London's home road splits have kind of correlated with that. Obviously, the better Ritter is, the better London's going to be. But Drake London's averaging fucking like 18 a game at home, and I think 14.4 a game at home and 7.9 on the road. 5K seems like that's a price I want to taste of. I'm not going to worry about last week when they were playing the Jets.
Yeah, I'm definitely with Healy on this one. Ritter on DraftKings, especially, like cheap enough. You put him in there. You pair him with Drake London, who I love this week, with or without Ritter. He's going to be in some of my lineups. And
we got this shit going on again.
Who's that?
It's probably you. It's probably you.
I'll check it.
It's whoever smelt it dealt it situation. The first one to go is that.
I play poker, and just by looking at all these squares, I already know who it is. And if I name the person, I'm one guess. Will that person admit yes?
Yeah, I'll tell you if you're right.
I hate to point the finger at my friend in the glasses.
Trevor! You're wrong.
Listen, when you got girls texting you all night long, you gotta fucking at least throw him a bone.
A little vein out of the side of his neck when the thing went off. He was like, oh, like that.
Little goat bone.
All right. Jerry, get it.
Salud.
Yeah, Ritter for sure. Him in London, they're definitely in play for me. I don't mind using Kyle Pitts here too if you want to double stack him. He's kind of cheap, and the Bucs defense is pretty beat up right now, so you can pass on them. I could see him getting open, especially in the end zone. I think Bijan is also in play here. They've been using him a lot in the red zone. They've been using him with the passing game a lot more. I think you could. I don't know if I'm going to get to him, but he's in play here. On the Tampa side, I mean, it's pretty easy for me. It comes down to Mike Evans. I have close friends of mine that like to bench Mike Evans in their season-long leagues. I don't know who the fuck they're listening to, but don't ever bench Mike Evans, Frank.
Yeah, Frank. Fucking Frank.
Yeah, it's Mike Evans. I mean, he's getting such a high target volume. On top of that, like Healy mentioned, they seem to be missing AJ Terrell and Okuda this week. So there really isn't anybody that can cover him on this defense. His price is kind of getting up there a little bit. So it's going to keep his ownership down. The same thing kind of goes with Rachaad White. He's a bell cow back. He looks to be coming low owned because of his price. I think Rachaad White is always in play for the kind of volume he's getting, but it's Evans that I want from the Bucs side. He's the one I'm going to prioritize.
Constantino.
I mean, pretty much touched on everybody except for two things that I like, which I'll add, but I'll double down that I do think that this game has a lot of goodness. I love this game from a fantasy perspective. The dome environment, obviously, but on top of that, I like concentrated volume, right? In these low total games, like you're saying. I mean, by scooping up, either White and Evans, I mean, you're pretty much sucking up a lot, not all, but, you're getting a lot of their volume through that. So they're my two favorite pieces on Tampa. I didn't look at Otten yet, to be honest with you, as a play because I was so concentrated on those two, but I don't mind Otten for the over the field concepts. But Atlanta's D is definitely worth a look here this week at 2,900. They're one of my favorite defenses of the week. In lineups where I'm playing the D, maybe I don't play Evans or Rachaad White, but they're definitely one of my key defenses. And then if I do play a Ritter lineup, which I'm probably going to, I love Drake London, so he's the obvious pairing. But if Matt Collins is out, I'm going all the way down to Hodge at $3,000. So number one, it's basically spending $3,000 paired with the quarterback. He gets one or two catches, which he had volume earlier in the season that could pay off nicely and allow you to spend up elsewhere with a starting build, so inexpensive. So Hodge and the Falcons D are what I want to add to what I already agreed with.
Trevor, anything else?
Yeah, let's not get too confused about this game. There's two plays simple. The defense, Atlanta, love that. And this is a fucking Michael Pitts game. 5 for 70 and a touchdown at $3,700.
You like him better?
Michael Pitts.
Fucking
go. Mike Evans and Kyle Pitts.
You like Michael or Kyle? Because I think Kyle. I think Kyle. I mean, listen,
Kyle Pitts.
You said it like you knew what the fuck you were talking about. Yeah.
Kyle Pitts. It's a Pitts game.
That's the Limit 15 talking.
Yeah, I would go Kyle. We spent enough time on that game. Let's try and buzz through these a little bit quicker. Rams at Baltimore here, Constantino. Is this a Lamar game or no?
It's always a Lamar game. Baltimore really plays good at home versus NFC opponents. I love Lamar. I think Isaiah Likely is a really good play this week. The tight ends really perform well against.
Remember, turn your fucking phone off.
Not me. I turned it off. I
told you it was Jerry the first time.
I turned it off.
That one was me.
No.
I turned it off.
I'm a poker player too. Go on, Mike.
Yeah, it's like, you got to guess, right, with the running back situation. I mean, there's just a lot there where you can get the concentrated volume, I believe, through Lamar, obviously. And I like pairing them with Likely and Odell Beckham. I mean, they do have somewhat of a bond. They're turning it on a little as the year's been going on. I notice he plays better at home at 3,800. He's grossly underpriced. If I'm playing Lamar, I want to pair those two together. And if not, a Likely. I'm not really big on any of the Rams passing games. I hate Stafford. The entire wide receiver room is banged up, but you can't ignore, what Kyren Williams is doing. We talked about it last week. I know one of you guys, Jerry, was high on him at 7,300. He's probably still underpriced here. I mean, he's getting 5 targets. He's running running the ball. I like Kyren Williams here as well. So it's Lamar, Likely, ODB, and Kyren Williams for me.
Yeah, Healy, I've taken my stance. I play Lamar naked every single time. So every time anyone says it, I feel like obligated to say it. But what are you doing here?
The Ravens defense, very intriguing, leading the league in sacks. You got Stafford coming on the road here. I think this is a good spot for this defense off a bye. I'm perfectly fine playing Lamar naked because I don't want to play Flowers in this one. He's really struggled to separate against the zone. Rams playing zone defense, cover 3 at one of the highest rates in the entire league.
Looks like he's hitting a little bit of rookie wall too. I mean, he's fading fast these last 5 or 6 games.
Well, he had a big game their last game out, but he took an end around and he caught a touchdown, 2 touchdowns. But
yeah, I mean, you have a 37-yard run, but outside of that, he was 5 for 25 through the air.
Yeah, exactly. But to Mike's point, Likely is a good play. I'm not going to go out of it. You can pair them, sure. I'm not going to go my way to force a stack, though, if you're playing Lamar. Rams bottom 3 defense again against opposing tight ends. Likely's playing around 80% of the snaps. So I don't mind him. And if you don't want to go Lamar, Keaton Mitchell, he was promoted to the lead back. I know they're still using all 3 guys. He got just about 50% of the snaps before the bye. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him get upwards of 60% of the snaps. Probably not going to get the goal line work with Gus there. Obviously you have Lamar, but he's explosive.
He's been scoring from outside the 10. So
yep,
he can get
all season. And I think, there's a little bit of projected ownership on him currently, but with Pachenko being ruled out, you're going to have those Chiefs guys sucking up a lot of ownership in that same price range. So he should be left at 2-3% owned this week. So I think he's a pretty interesting tournament play. And to Mike's point, Kyron's the only Ram I would consider. Not a great matchup, but bell cow. You're getting a bell cow back who's used in the passing game as well for sub 8K. Not a core play, but the only Ram I'm interested in.
Yeah, we were high on Kyron last week, both Jerry, when a lot of people weren't really feeling too comfortable with it against Cleveland. This guy is matchup proof, dude, because if he doesn't get it on the ground, he's going to get it through the air. They're pretty much running their offense through him right now.
Yeah, I mean, Kyron, you can't ignore the volume that he's getting. I mean, with that kind of volume, any running back, they're in play every week, even in a bad matchup. But it's going to be kind of a weather kind of game. There's turnovers. They might get some good field position. The Rams are still involved in a playoff hunt. They got to kind of have to win out a little bit, but they're still in there, so they could be trying to win a little bit. I agree with Mike and Healy on this one with Likely. He's probably the guy I would prefer the most from the Ravens. I'm out on Lamar. I'm out on everybody else from the passing game. The way I would approach the running backs is I would probably play Gus Edwards on FanDuel and Keaton Mitchell more on DraftKings. Gus Edwards has that touchdown equity, and he's kind of cheap on FanDuel, so you can go to him over there. And Keaton Mitchell, he's got that big play upside, and he's a lot cheaper on DraftKings. So I would play Keaton Mitchell on DraftKings.
Yeah, I just stay away from the Baltimore running game altogether all the time. Trev, what are you looking at?
I'm gonna take this a little different here, and I'm gonna go. Do not play Lamar Jackson. Do not be on him. I am playing DFS to win tournaments, and he has only had 1 week where he could have won me a tournament, and that's week 3 where he had 32 DK points. The rest, 14, 23, 15, 12, 11. 37. Okay, week 7, 18, 11. So he's not winning me a tournament. Stay away from Lamar Jackson. That's it.
I actually don't hate that, believe it or not. I haven't played a lot of Lamar Jackson, haven't recommended him as much just because they've always been a team that tries to run, but they haven't had this good of a running back combination right now with Hill, Mitchell, and Edwards. They usually have 3 running backs hurt, and they're using one of their backups. So I think they are vulturing him a little bit, and I'm not super high. I like Kyron as my favorite play in this game. I think he's probably going to be 4% owned or something, right, guys? Like, no one's going to play him. So a little contrarian play probably won't make the main lineup. I don't think I'll have a single play on the main lineup from this game. Detroit, Chicago here. Justin Fields on my radar, Haley. What do you think?
Yes, Fields week. I kind of banged the table when they played him last time. It's Fields rushing. Mm-hmm. Jam it. 59 rushing yards.
Detroit's a sieve against guys like him. Like,
yeah, he's been over 100 his last 3 times playing Detroit, and just this defensive scheme, he just absolutely eats them alive. I think it's up to 60. I played it at 59 the other day. I'd bladder this thing.
Dude, he had 18 carries against them last time.
Yeah, and again, they're a little bit healthier in the backfield, but this is a spot. So this is where, to you guys' point, I wouldn't play Lamar because I can just get Justin Fields for cheaper.
Exactly.
He's doing the same exact thing. It's arguably better weather in Chicago than it's going to be in Baltimore. You can play,
and arguably he's not only cheaper. I mean, he's kind of flirted with his ceiling more frequently than.
Oh yeah,
Lamar.
Not just that. Fields is playing for his career.
Right. Fields is playing for his career. Fields is probably going to be trailing in this game, so you probably have a game flow positivity here. Whereas Baltimore, you wouldn't be surprised if they got out 17-3 and then ran the ball a little bit more. So yeah, I think Fields is a no-brainer over Lamar.
Yeah. So he's right now my top quarterback the entire week, and we've talked about this Detroit defense for the last couple of weeks. They can't stop anyone. Like this
team's a fraud.
They're just getting absolutely bludgeoned by everyone. I mean, even the Saints last week kind of running through them. Obviously preferred pairing here is DJ Moore if you're going to pair him up because it's very concentrated. He throws to him, he throws to Kmet, especially in the red zone. So pick one of them. I'm not really interested in Fields double stacks because I want him to get there with his legs as well.
It's Fields more. That's it.
Yeah. So
and you can go Fields naked, but it's Fields more.
Yep, that's the preferred lineup. 3rd, 4th, 5th Bear stack. I think you can mix in some Kmet, but definitely more. And Lions side, tough spot on the road here. I think the Bears defense is actually a little bit intriguing. Their run defense has been awesome. The Lions are going to be without their starting stud center, which really fucks up a lot of teams offensively. You can't throw to the boundary against this team. They've only allowed one 100-yard wide receiver all season. It was Mike Evans. So we're in week 14 now. So the way to kind of move the ball in this team is running backs out of the backfield. So I would look at Gibbs as the only Lion that I'm considering this week.
Yeah, Scarface. Amon-Ra is a guy who I don't know. I don't know if I'm going up there for 8K anymore lately. It just hasn't been coming through of late. But something maybe a little bit wrong with him. I think he's healthy enough to play, but I think he's dinged up a little bit.
I mean, I would say from the Lions side, Amon-Ra is my favorite play from the Lions. It's the Goff outdoor on the road. It's hard to get to that offense when they're in that situation. But if I'm going to go to anybody, it's going to be him. He's going to come in low owned. And like you said, you're not going to get a lot of yards from receivers on the Bears, but he's going to rack up those targets. He's going to rack up those catches. I like him a lot more on DraftKings. He could see upwards of 15 targets. Who knows in this game, Mm-hmm. I'm out on Laporta here at his price. I'm not going to any of these other receivers. If I was to play any of these running backs, I would go to that Monty revenge. He's going to get those goal line carries. 100% he's getting those goal line carries in this game. So.
Prop bet of the week. Montgomery touchdown. Fucking lock it in right now.
I don't know how many yards he's going to get. That's the matter. I don't know the volume he's going to get, but he's going to get those touchdowns. I would bank on him getting a touchdown in this game. And on the Bears side, it's just Fields and Moore. Everything Healy said about them. DJ Moore, he's seeing 31% target share with Fields at quarterback. I see a big game from both of them. Fields is playing for his career right here. So I think he's going to ball out in this game.
Yeah, Constantino, I never get to Montgomery just because he doesn't catch any passes with Gibbs in there. But, what do you think?
I wouldn't mind them in FanDuel, but not in this matchup. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks in a row now that the Bears D's flying all over the field. They're stopping the run specifically. And, familiar opponent. They just played a couple of weeks ago. could be bad weather there, but you touched on everybody I like. My favorite play in the game is Fields. Second favorite play is St. Brown, and my third favorite play is DJ Moore. So,
Trevor, anything weird here we got to play?
Nope. On board with everyone here. I'm leaning Gibbs, though. I do like Gibbs.
All right. Yeah, I hate that fucking timeshare. It drives me nuts when I know I don't have the lead touchdown guy for that price. Indianapolis at Cincinnati here. This is a situation where Indianapolis getting 1.5 in this spot. Got to imagine that's going to be a highly bet total. I'm just pulling this up right now and seeing where the money is. 70% of the public is on the Bengals in this game, laying the 1.5. Must be the Jake Browning, who I call Browning-Nagel effect. That line seems a little bit fishy there, Scarface. But what do you like in this Colts-Bengals game? Will say I'll take 500 of that 200,000 you got last week for that Pittman Downs point per dollar thing.
I forgot the bet. What was it?
You lost. Pittman Downs point per dollar. On my mind in the moment. Sorry. Yeah. I'm sure you had bigger things to worry about. But yeah, it was Pittman versus Downs point per dollar. I think it'd be.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of pieces from this game. I mean, first off, I'm gonna go right back to Zach Moss here. He's still way too underpriced for his role in this offense. I mean, he's projected to come in as the highest owned running back again, but I mean, it's for good reason.
It's gonna be a lot less than last week, though. Last week we were looking at 80%. This week,
last week, I mean, you're probably going to see upwards of 50% in this week. Also, like I said, he's still too underpriced for what for the production he's getting. He had 23 touches last game. 7 of them came near the goal line.
He had 7 touches inside the 8 or something like that last week.
It's hard. It's like I said, we're not going to get into the whole Zach Moss thing again, but it's very hard to fade a running back at that price getting that kind of volume, which is super hard. I'm going to bet that he gets into the end zone this time around. I mean, he had how many looks inside the goal line?
That's what I'm saying. I had like 7 at the 8-yard line.
Yeah, he just happened to not get in. This Cincy defense is a weak defense. I mean, it's a plus matchup for everybody on the Colts. Downs, Pittman, Moss. I like all of them here. If you want to go to Minshew, I mean, I don't mind that either. On the Bengals side, you know, they look good the other night. I think a lot of people are going to be using that Browning, Chase, Mixon stack in tournaments. I mean, I don't mind going there either. I don't know how much of them I'm going to get. I think you can kind of throw T. Higgins into that mix as well. I think the more comfortable that Browning gets in this offense, the more we're going to be seeing T. Higgins involved. But, yeah, I mean, I think this is as a game overall, you can use a lot of pieces from this game.
Haley, I think there's I'm a conspiracy theorist, as you guys know. By the way, new Zach Wilson conspiracy video up on my Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Go check that out. Why Zach Wilson was benched and who leaked, who's the rat in the Jets clubhouse. But I think that Jake Browning, and I'm serious with this. You saw it with LeBron last night. You saw it with Browning. You saw it with Zach Wilson. Remember, he looked like John Elway when they played the Chiefs on primetime that one night. I think they give them drugs for primetime games. Like whoever's not supposed to cover, I think they feed them fucking baby blood and they go turn into John Elway because the whole fucking world was on Jacksonville and Jake Browning comes out as superstar. Watch him come back down to fucking garbage again, just like Zach Wilson did after that Chiefs game. I'm not buying these out-of-body primetime underdog performances because they never follow up. So, Tilly, do you believe in this kid?
You know, I think if they continue to call the game like they did last week, what I liked that there was a lot of just much safer throws around the line of scrimmage. They weren't doing the Joe Burrow deep vertical as big play, which I think will get him in trouble if they kind of start to resort to that. So if they continue to call the game,
you don't believe in the baby blood?
I don't believe in maybe something other than baby blood. I'm not sure.
We'll call it a push.
The effects of baby blood,
some sort of drugs.
Yeah, sure. So I think Browning's a viable candidate. And as I mentioned, if they're not throwing it downfield, we saw Mixon's targets kind of increase a little bit. We got Mixon at home. I'm sure Jerry will be playing some Joe Mixon this week.
Everyone's gonna be playing him, right? Is he gonna be chalk?
Well, I think the problem is you have him and he's only 300 more than Moss. And some people like to set rules where they don't play 2 running backs in the same game. Mm-hmm. So I think that was the only thing that could keep it a little bit more in check. But should be in that 20, 22% range, somewhere in there. But then you have Jamar Chase. So I mentioned I like Mike Evans quite a bit at that 7,700. 7,600 here for Chase. You know, I know you don't have Burrow, but he's going to keep peppering him with targets. And on full PPR sites at that price, I think there's certainly pretty good ceiling. Just 1 touchdown at that price, I think he pays it off pretty well. So another guy I'm looking at in that upper mid-tier range.
Yeah, Scarface Chase's price came down $400 after dropping 35 last week with Browning. I actually was a 76-yard touchdown in there. Basically had 10 catches for like 60 yards outside of that. So I don't know if we have
he
to.
Said, he's always fucking open.
Yeah, he's always open, and he's going to pepper him. So I think we make up for it in volume because Browning's just he's not going to get to his second and third reads very often, right? So he's going to basically one read and then probably get sacked or maybe.
But he's going to get Higgins involved eventually. The more comfortable he gets in his offense, Higgins is going to be used.
I'm a little worried about him getting to those second and third reads because the first game it was Higgins that he played who got peppered like 10, 11 times, and Chase didn't really do much. Then last game it was Chase who got peppered 13 times, and Higgins didn't do much. I don't know if he has that Burrow capability to kind of get both of them involved.
I mean, he looked good. Nothing about how he played.
But it was all Chase. It was zone in on Chase though. Higgins was invisible.
It could have been that baby blood you're talking about. I don't know what it was. But
who knows? Maybe it was a little.
And what to confuse things? What about it sounds like they're making a conscious effort to get Chase Brown, running back, a bit more involved. Got 9 carries. Yeah. Again, I don't know if that's something we'll continue to see.
He got 9 carries. You should. He had 7 yards of carry on that 9 carries.
Yeah. Again, there's just going to be like a change of pace back that, is it just a viable cheap pivot with other people going to some chalkier running backs in that range? Large field tournaments, I think you can take flyers there.
By far, Zach Moss is the best play from this game. By far.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're definitely Moss over Mixon for the 200.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Would you play both?
No.
All right. Anything else? You went over it already, but you pretty much covered that. Constantino, what do you think of this?
I'm actually shocked. I'm really shocked at what I'm hearing. First off, I'm going to say I agree about Moss from the guy who said fade him last week, play Henry for leverage and/or Pittman for leverage and/or the Titans defense for leverage, which smash. We would be remiss to not speak about that. I don't mind going back to Moss until I heard somebody say he's going to be just as high owned as last week, and that puts me
no, way less. Last week was 80,
but he's still going to be the highest owned.
Yeah, okay. There's a huge difference though.
Okay,
last week he was 80.
Let
me just say the percentages to the listeners. Last week he was 85% owned. This week he'll be about 45% owned. So even though he has the high, it's a huge difference. So Mike, carry on.
For what I was saying, it doesn't matter. If he is the highest owned running back, whether it's at 25% being the highest owned, I'm off him again because I can get exposure to that offense again through Pittman and get a little different and suck up that exposure. But I'm shocked, honestly, that Jerry, you're not fucking pounding the table on Mixon here at 6,100. I mean, the Colts are actually decent at stopping the pass, but they sieved to the run game, and then Mixon got workhorse volume last game against a better rush defense. Jacksonville's good against the rush. Scored 2 touchdowns, had 7 targets in the passing game, and then coupled with Mixon at 6,100, which I love. And I'm not even the biggest Mixon guy. I mean, Jamar Chase, nobody said this, which I'm happy about because 7,600 is egregious. Number one, let's start with we're in week 13 or 14 rather. It's the cheapest his price is all year long after an amazing volume game where if you were watching that game with both eyes, that's his target, man. Chase is his guy. They put him in the backfield, flare passes out, like Tommy said, running the ball, throwing the ball. That was priced.
Hopefully he throws
at 7,600, factored in. It was locked in before anybody saw that performance in that game, and they factored in that Browning's the quarterback. How else can you explain that off that great game by Jace with the chemistry with Browning, he's the cheapest that he's been in all year long? It makes no sense. So I got to play Chase this week too, along with Mixon.
Yeah, I don't hate anything you said there, honestly, Mike. And I know last week we were talking about just take the free square with Moss. Who cares if he shits the bed because he gets you. Like you said, Jerry, every top lineup had Moss in it, right? Like it was fucking got you CMC. I was all over Debo. But I agree with you this week, Mike, actually. At 5,900, now we're talking 6,000, right? So if you're going to get a 50% guy at 6,000, now he's got to get that 16, 18 to be okay. If he scores 7 or 8 again at 6,000, there's a problem. At 4,600 last week, it was a free square. At 6,000, I kind of more on Mike's side on this. I'm probably not eating that chalk, even though I think he's the best value play on the board. The percentage may scare me off. Trevor, what about you? What do you like here?
I mean, I'm surprised no one's really mentioned it. Gunslinger Minshew. One of my lineups is going to be a Minshew Chase Pittman game stack. And let her fly. I think Indy's going to play from behind potentially, and he's got the potential to sling it. So
yeah, he's slung it 42 times and 41 times the last 2 games, threw for 302 touchdowns last year. I think I think he's fine there. 5,400.
That's one of my stacks.
Who's gonna be more popular, Minshew or Browning? Browning
for sure.
Yeah, I would go Minshew as a pivot there. I like that.
I think Browning's going to be the highest owned quarterback on.
Yeah. This is that can't happen. That can't happen off one outing. That's crazy.
That's what's kind of keeping me off.
Yeah, no, there's no way. There's no way I'm playing chalk guy who's had one good game in his life. No. Jacksonville at Cleveland in this spot from an injury perspective. We have a lot going on here, Healy. We got ATN who's questionable. Lawrence who's how the fuck is Lawrence even questionable for this game? The guy looked like he was dead last game.
Why the fuck did they not get a cart for him?
I tweeted that out. How the fuck there's no cart for this fucking guy?
He refused it apparently. But...
I mean, dude, he looked like fucking
Goldilocks.
He looked like me, Trevor, leaving a bar with a drunk chick, fucking hanging on.
The old Tommy, not the new bionic Tommy.
That's true.
Fucking bionic Tommy.
Christian Kirk has entered the IR. And we have Amari Cooper, who's questionable, who was nice enough to drop a ball in the second quarter as he was about to cash my prop. So fuck you, Coop. Flacco has been demoted to the practice squad after having what I believe to be a good game, 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, walking off a fucking couch. We have no idea what's going on here. You got Johnson, who's questionable, Dearness Johnson, and ATN, who's questionable for Jack. It's a fucking mess here, Healy. What the fuck are we doing with this?
We're just going to take a wait and see approach.
Yeah, you can't even do anything right now. Yeah, we're not even fucking talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, this game it's more just it's wait and see at this point. Nick Parker Washington for Jacksonville kind of came into that game, put up a pretty gaudy stat line: 6 targets, 6 receptions, and a touchdown for 18 points. He's a stone minimum 3K, but things change when it's not in game when they start scheming. So you just really have to see who's in and out. Either way, my assumption is Lawrence is not playing in this game, which means the Browns' defense is obviously extremely intriguing either way. So that's the only play right now that I can say that I like in this one.
Okay. Scarface, this is like what I don't like to do because I get stuck in my own opinions. Zach Wilson, Ritter, everyone, as you know, I'll never get off them. I don't even like to start doing analysis if there's this many unknowns because I don't want to get my head in places and get them out. I just basically take this game, move it to the side, and I'll adjust, Saturday, Sunday when I start to get more information.
I mean, with all these injuries, it's a super low total. You got a good Browns defense. I mean, I don't know what the weather's going to be like here. I mean, it's just easy for me just to cross off all the Jags here. I don't think I want any of them here.
You keep in mind, you could have a situation though where Dearness Johnson and Travis Etienne are gone, and Tank Bigsby's the starting running back at 4,400.
If that was to happen,
yeah, you could also have a situation where Kirk's already out. Like you said, Washington. There is some options here in this game. It's just a matter of
it's a wait and see.
I don't know what it's going to be.
Like you kind of have to wait it out right now. If you were to ask me right now, I'm not on any of the Jags here.
Yeah.
For the Browns, I think you can probably use Jerome Ford here. His snap share is falling a little bit, but he's got that big play upside. They're at home. The Jags D look really sloppy to me on Monday night. The other guy I would probably go to here is Elijah Moore. It's pretty clear that him and Flacco got a connection.
Is it Flacco though, or is it DTR? Do we know?
Well, whatever it is, he saw.
They moved Flacco down and then moved him up. Now we may start.
Coach should be fired on the spot if he doesn't start Flacco. Added a little
you have to start Flacco.
I mean,
there's no reason not to start Flacco here,
especially in the playoff race.
He's starting. Flacco's starting. This guy's not an idiot.
Regardless, he saw 12 targets with Flacco. He saw 9 targets a week before with DTR.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, his price is too cheap for that kind of volume. So, Elijah, you have to definitely consider Elijah Moore here.
All right. If Flacco's playing, Mike, I love Amari Cooper in this spot, 5,800. If Cooper's playing and Flacco is playing, he was peppering him early. I loved his over last week. He was going for 100 in that game. I think he's going to get peppered again by Flacco.
Is he playing?
Well, he's questionable. So we're going to have to see. His list is questionable. It's going to be up till the game time if he can pass the protocol shit. So we don't know if Flacco's playing or if Cooper's playing.
Well, isn't this one of those where you're going to need to sign up and see where Healy and Scarface go Sunday morning?
Attaboy, Trevor. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can use promo code RUP45. Or you
let's fucking go.
Trevor with something of value. Let's go. All right, Constantino, anything?
I mean, at this point, with every lineup that I'm building and setting, I'm either, if $100 difference, it's either has the Browns D or the Falcons D, which I talked about earlier. So if this weather intensifies and is bad, it puts me even more on the Browns. And if Lawrence is out, it even puts me more on the Browns. So it's a good lineup building starter. Just plug them in at 3,000. The Browns or the Falcons at 2,900. Flacco should play. I mean, I honestly, sometimes these coaches, they overthink shit. Flacco should be the starting quarterback, and if he's not, I'd be surprised. But let's pretend it was dry out and Flacco was the quarterback. You have to play Elijah Moore. I mean, he got peppered with targets to
he got peppered a lot last week.
But he also
Cooper
plays the role that fits what Flacco's doing, where he just goes 10 yards, stands there, throws the ball, and like more of a possession receiver. So he would be a play there in the right environment. So I have to wait weather dependent and quarterback dependent, but at 4,500, he's a solid play, and especially if Cooper's out.
Jerry, we might have a little bet here because I don't love Moore if Cooper's playing. I'd probably be willing to go a little bet Cooper Moore point per dollar because you got cheaper, so you'll have to do less.
I mean, I'm just assuming that Cooper's not playing this game.
Right, but if he did play, would you still be on Moore?
I mean, for his price, it's kind of hard not to play him.
Yeah, I really like Cooper in this spot at 5,800. I mean, that's if he's playing. I think Cooper plays. I do. I think they lie about this concussion shit and they just fucking put guys in if they need them. And the Browns are in a spot where they need to play Cooper and they need to fucking win. So I think he gets magically cleared, Saturday night, Sunday morning.
This is like Healy said, wait and see on this game.
Yeah. Carolina at New Orleans, Constantino. We have a bunch of injuries in this game, too. We got Olave questionable, Derek Carr questionable, Taysom Hill questionable, Rashid Shaheed questionable, Kendre Miller out, Benjamin out. Juwan Johnson, I believe, is questionable. A lot fucking going on here, Mike.
I mean, I don't want to spend 8,200, but Kamara at 8,200 as the workhorse back who's going to catch the ball against the biggest weakness on the Carolina defense could be a little contrarian. I don't know the percentages as you guys do, but I mean, it's going to be hard for people to start a lineup build with Kamara at 8,200 to get other pieces in, including the pass catchers. So I'm going to look at the Kamara play as more of a contrarian build, right? Like maybe if I'm not playing Zach Moss, maybe I'll start with Kamara there and, maybe my mix-in piece per se with Fields at quarterback. That's a pretty good start. And then maybe a spend down to more Elijah Moore, so you got to get tricky with the way that you attack your lineups. But I love Kamara, sans the price. Taysom Hill, if he's healthy and playing, is another piece that I like. I tried to play Carolina a couple weeks ago, but they're really bad to everybody's point. And take my L on that. Disaster at running back again. Chuba's getting the burn, but you're still, you don't have Sanders going away. Thielen, I was high on him and he shit the bed and killed me in the perfect matchup. So it's really hard to get to the Carolina side. And even their defense, which I kind of liked, is just overpriced here at 3,000. And listen, if Jameis is the quarterback, it's a nightmare and I get it. But at 3,000, I'm taking the Browns D, not Carolina D. So that's all I got for you here.
All right. Scarface, I kind of like Taysom Hill here if he plays. He's done well in their wins of late. The last 2 wins that the Saints had with the right game flow, he scored 22 and 20. 5,400 is a little bit high. I like his prop, though. I'm probably going to bet him to plus 160 to score a touchdown if he plays. That's my favorite bet on this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is another game. It's kind of just a wait and see approach with these injuries. If Carr plays, I like Kamara a lot more. If Winston plays, I'm completely out on Kamara. And the thing with Kamara is he's 8,200, 1,000 more. You get to McCaffrey, who's obviously a much more safer play.
Don't have to worry about getting vultured.
Exactly, and he's not going to get vultured the way Kamara is. With the Saints, it's just tough. You can just kind of have to wait and see what the injury report. With the Panthers, I'm going right back to Mingo here. It's clear that the new OC is wanting to get him more involved. He saw 10 targets last game. His price is still the same here. Lattimore is out for New Orleans. I think we see a lot more shots downfield with Mingo. I mean, I'm probably going to be using him in a lot of lineups. I used him last week in the lineup that almost won it. I'm going to use him again this week. I think we can use Chuba Hubbard also. He saw 25 rush attempts last game. He's another guy that looks like they're going to be getting – like they're going to use more down the stretch as well. With the new OC, they're kind of going to phase Miles Sanders out. The Saints defense is kind of beat up too. It's Mingo and Chuba Hubbard for me. Those are my 2 favorite plays from the game.
Healy?
Yeah, I echo exactly what Jerry said. I have Hubbard kind of already penciled into my article for the week. I like him as a contrarian running back this week, regardless of game script, given the volume. Mingo is the other cheap receiver I'm interested in. Saints, he outlaid it perfectly. Like, just wait and see who's playing quarterback. That's going to dictate who we play. If you have Jameis, I'm going to be interested in some receivers. If it's Carr, then Kamara is certainly much more in play.
Okay, Trevor.
just bingo. I'm building lineups, as we speak while we're doing the show, and I'm putting Kamara in there. And who would you rather have, Kamara at 82 or McCaffrey at 92? I mean, maybe you go Kamara and McCaffrey to be contrarian, but I like McCaffrey more than I like him, so he's finding his way in my lineup. So I'm getting off Kamara a little bit.
Yeah, McCaffrey 92 is not even a question. Let's move over to McCaffrey's minus 350 to score a touchdown this week, by the way.
That's fucking
He's
crazy.
Minus 400 on DraftKings. That's the most insane line I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. We're going to go to the Houston Texans at my very own New York Jets with the future greatest quarterback of all time, Zach Wilson, back at the saddle, admitting to Tommy G that I was right, that he's the best quarterback on the team. He should have never been benched. Breece Hall is questionable here. That could give us some opportunity here on the Jets running side. The line is shady. We're looking at a 3.5-point spread. I thought it would be 6 or higher. Noah Brown is questionable. Dalton Schultz is out again. And Nico Collins probably going to see a lot of Sauce Gardner here, Scarface. But, I mean, Nico's been a monster with Tank Dell, who's on IR. I should mention that. Tank Dell, my boy. God, rest in peace, Tank Dell. You did me good this year. What do you think here, Haley? Scarface.
I think the Jets are winning this game.
I do too.
This is a big letdown spot for the Texans here. It's going to be ugly weather. I feel like the Jets are just going to come in and kind of smack them around a little bit. I'm completely off of the Texans here. There's nobody on the Texans that I like this week. For the Jets, I think we see a good game out of Garrett Wilson. Everybody hates on Zach Wilson, but he is the quarterback for them. He likes to target Garrett Wilson. I think they're going to focus on getting Garrett Wilson the ball here. I think you're going to see a lot of targets to Garrett Wilson. He's going to have opportunities. He's going to have opportunities to score. He's definitely the play I want from this game. I think he's actually one of my favorite plays on the weekend.
Yeah, one of the props that I mentioned on Stay Cash and today, people just don't understand. They don't get it. Garrett Wilson has thrived under Zach Wilson. He hasn't just been okay. The last 4 starts of Zach Wilson, 8 for 90, 7 for 100, 7 for 80, and 9 for 93. And we're getting that just because he didn't score any touchdowns. We still was getting to fucking 14, 18, 20 fantasy points, fucking 5K this week. It's 5,500, Healy. How is he? He's got to be chalk, right?
He's one of the more popular, but this is where you start your lineup.
I'm all in.
You plug Garrett Wilson in at the
Plug
start.
him in. Plug him in.
Start your builds with Garrett Wilson.
That's
like
right.
him a lot this week.
Garrett Wilson is scoring this weekend. If there's the touchdown prop on him, just bet it. He's scoring this weekend.
Garrett Wilson.
There you go. Jam it. The Texans side, the running backs, they've come out. They're basically saying they're playing the hot hand approach now, so this backfield's completely unplayable. I know they're going to pepper Nico, but it's 7,600. I don't like this game environment a ton for them. I think they'll struggle ultimately to score and move points. If I'm going to use any Texans, it's going to be a little bit more on the value side. I'd prefer Brown and or Brevin Jordan again. But again, they're just interesting pieces from this game, but no core plays. It's all about Garrett Wilson in this one.
Yeah, Mike Conklin was a guy I was kind of looking at that was really going off with Zach before Zach went out. 6 for 66, 7 for 70, and then fell apart when Zach left. Anything you like here?
It's tough to like the passing game, against the Jets. That's where they excel. The way to beat the Jets is either to run the ball on them or go through the tight end.
Do you know the Jets are giving up 136 per game on the ground?
As a matter of fact, I do, Thomas. You know why?
Because you read my video where I posted the stat in my conspiracy Zach Wilson.
As it says right there, bad versus the run, giving up 136 per game on my master sheet of destiny.
Well,
now, pardon the interruption. Let me go back to
it was called actively listening and being a good host, dropping in dimes.
I call it interruption.
Well, I call you a bad guest.
I'm called. Let's fight.
I call you unadaptable.
That cost us a touchdown parlay last week. You guys can cruise.
No, it cost you a touchdown parlay. We won.
I got kicked out of the club. Trevor, we're not welcome
back.
back.
You two aren't allowed back in the touchdown.
I heard happens. That's so terrible. That's so terrible. But if I was, it would be Mixon or Zach Moss for the record.
What do you like in the Jets, Houston?
I don't like really anything, but I get the narrative. I'm in agreement that the Jets have to win this game. This is like their last stand. If they lose this game, they lose out because this is like the last morale builder at home. The whole thing, the return of Zach, like this is their last shot. So I got to say I like their defense at 2,900 because of the fact that Houston becomes more one-dimensional now with Tank Dell out, who, Tommy, you nailed it. He was a great player, and I watched him right before he got hurt and listened to a lot of his story. But, Nico Collins, I just don't like him in this spot as like the only receiver. You got Dalton Schultz out again, right? he's the only guy. I mean, the Jets, as bad as they are, I mean, they have to at least scheme correctly. You're either going to lock them up with Sauce, play double coverage everywhere else. Like, they're just missing a lot of weapons. And nobody in their backfield puts the fear in me out of the Houston running back. So I just think it's a great spot for the Jets. I'll co-sign the Garrett Wilson, but I'm not in a rush to play him. I get it at 5,500, and I get it with the target share.
Rushed.
But at the end of the day, it's still fucking Zach Wilson with Paul Hackett in his earpiece. I mean, it's just I like it, but like I just can't overcome that. The tight end wise, like I was saying, Jordan at 3,100, he's still cheap. I mean, for his usage in the offense with the wide receiver room banged up. So I prefer him over Conklin here, even though I've played Conklin in past weeks. So I like Jordan at tight end, and that's really it. But I'll have some Wilson. I have Garrett Wilson in my main lineup right now, but
the bottom row struggles with first names. They're not great at that. It was Nathaniel Hackett, who's the offensive.
What I say, Buddy Hackett?
Paul Hackett, yeah. But I don't even know who that is. But you are correct. You are correct. Yeah, Trevor, I'm all in Garrett Wilson. I think this is absolute fucking
Trevor. He's name shaming us, buddy. Saying we don't do it.
No,
I'm speechless.
I can't not mention it because then someone watches the show and goes, "These guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about." So
no,
we have
I mean, it's fucking Hackett. I mean, he's a jerk off.
Yeah.
Forget about Wink Martindale. I thought was a fucking game show host in the defensive coordinator.
He sounds
like a fucking game show host. Wink Martindale. Is this like a simulation of what do they call it? The theory when things don't exist, like the cornucopia, Tommy? We always talk about it. The Mandela effect or whatever it is.
Mandela
Was there not a game show host named Wink Martindale?
I doubt it, but it sounds like it does sound like a game show.
His name is Wink something.
That does sound like a game show.
Martindale. All right, I thought
you're looking at this all wrong. I am trying to build confidence. I am trying to build confidence in our sub base of everyone watching this to know if you can't truly or really pronounce, read, or say something the right way, that you can still be in high demand and make a shit ton of money. So I'm trying to help build confidence and breed,
English?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. That's Deep Thoughts by Trevor
Let's
Marcotte.
fucking go!
So,
Monty.
Yeah, what do you like in this game there?
Jordan and Wilson. That's it.
Yeah.
Next.
I'm in.
All right, Minnesota at Las Vegas, Sealy. We're going to be seeing Justin Jefferson this week, I'm assuming. So, right? So, how are we playing this?
So I have my own interest in Josh Dobbs this week, but I kind of fear he's a little bit on the hot seat to be benched in mid-game. I mean, right before the bye, 2 consecutive weeks where he's just constantly turning the ball over, and I fear if that continues, he's going to be under some duress there with some defensive pressure by the Raiders line on the other side. It's going to be tough to pay $8,500 for Justin Jefferson for me this week. Certainly you could do it if you want to be very contrarian. I don't think he's going to get ownership. I'd prefer Hockenson in this one. It's a guy that Dobbs, has always honed in on the tight end, and don't mind paying up to this mid tier to be contrarian at tight end for Hockenson. But my fear is I don't think the Raiders can push the game pace enough to make it shoot out. Like 8,500 for JJ. I need the game to really kind of be a back and forth, and if the Raiders are scoring, it's not explosive plays with Aiden O'Connell. It's going to be dink and dunk and runs with Josh Jacobs, just long, methodical drives. So not extremely interested in this game for fantasy this week.
All right. Scarface, I can't figure out what I'm doing on the Minnesota side of the ball, but on the Raiders side of the ball, I do like Jacobs and I do like Adams. Talk to me here.
I love Devontae Adams here.
Yeah,
I think his price is way too cheap for this matchup. The Vikings blitz more than any team in the NFL. And when Aiden O'Connell is blitzed, he targets Devontae 70% of the time. DJ Moore just lit them up 11 for 114 a couple of weeks ago. I think Devontae Adams is going to see that type of game over here. He's one of my favorite plays. I love Devontae Adams this week.
I've been playing stud wide receivers with young quarterbacks against teams that blitz for about 6 years now. And the reason why it works especially is because when you're being blitzed, you go to your first read. And the young quarterbacks don't go. Devontae's always the first read, right? Garrett Wilson's always Zach Wilson's first read. So, yeah, that's a good point you brought up there with the Minnesota blitz. And Devontae Adams has been coming around 86, 82, and 73 in the last 3 games with O'Connell.
Yeah,
so 500.
AOC's in there. He's getting more comfortable. Like he's gonna feed Devontae here.
The only thing that worries me a little bit in this one is that Josh Jacobs has been coming around too. And I don't know how high this game's going to get. I don't know how many points these teams are going to score, but you're looking at 2 out of his last 3 games with 116 and 110 rushing yards, got 6 targets last game. He's being heavily involved. He's getting 24 touches last game, 29 touches 2 games ago. They're both kind of up there. 6,900 for Jacobs is interesting. 7,500. I want to play them both. I just don't know.
One of those tournament plays that can win you a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably more likely. I would probably more likely put Jacobs on one and Adams on the other. But I feel like Jacobs is a decent.
Pick one or the other, but Devontae, he's the one I prefer for sure. For the Vikings, I'm staying away from all the receivers here. With Justin Jefferson back, I mean, you kind of have to see what it's going to look like with Dobbs first. The guy I prefer the most from the Vikings is Alexander Mattison. I don't expect like a huge game from him, but he's priced pretty cheap, and he looks like he's getting back to getting a bulk of the touches against a bad Raiders defense. Like I could see him getting some goal line work, getting in a couple of touchdowns, like 1 or 2. That's very possible for him in this matchup. Devontae and Alexander Mattison, those are the 2 plays from this game I like the most.
Haley, you worry about Ty Chandler at all with that? Or no?
No. I mean, he'll fill in, but it's just like, would you not play Mixon because the other guy's going to get 7 to 9 carries?
Honestly, yeah. That was just enough to move me to where I'd prefer Moss. Yeah, it's just enough to move me to another player in that spot. But Madison at 5,500 is right there in that Moss Mixon range, right? So
He's cheap.
Yeah. But what do you like here, Haley? Did you already tell me?
Yeah. I mean, I get the Adams, and again, I've talked about that price tier of receivers like Evans, Chase, Adams. I have builds with the 3 of them. Like cumulative ownership is like a sub 25%, like on all 3 of them right now, and I like those builds. So that's the range I'm targeting primarily at receiver this week. At least
Mike,
2 of those guys.
Sorry, Mike, did I go to get on this game? I'm totally lost on who I went to on this game.
No, you didn't. But really not much. But I like the Dobbs play at that price and a bounce back, getting the addition of Jefferson. He's got a vibe with Hawkinson. And I like Mattison. I mean, I have a lineup in right now where I got a little different. And I played it with Dobbs and Mattison to start. So I got all the passing yards and all the rushing yards because Dobbs runs the ball too and scores touchdowns. So it's a little differentiator. I don't know if people will be running to the door to play Jefferson. And I don't even know if Dobbs will be trying to force feed him and make bad decisions. But he's been pretty constant with Hawkinson. So I have another build without the Madison that I have Dobbs and Hawkinson. I don't think I'm going to get to Justin Jefferson here, just due to matchup base too. Raiders they're doing a decent job, I guess. They're playing with passion under Pierce, but I just can't get on Jacobs in this matchup. I think that the Vikings D is sneaky good. They scheme well, and they do mix up the pressure with the blitz, like you were saying, and disguise it well, which could fuck with Aiden Connell, who, had a couple of good games, but I think the Vikings, to Healy's point, are going to be a little too much with them and hard for the Raiders to pace up with them with a shaky O'Connell against the schemy defense like the Vikings have. So it's really how I'm hitting it. A little bit of Dobbs, a little bit of Mattison, a little bit of Hawkinson. Really no one on the Raiders right now. I'd rather spend down for Mixon over Jacobs and other players in that price point. And same with Adams. I'd rather Chase and, Evans and other guys there.
All right, Trevor.
Naked Dobbs, baby. Let's go. I mean, listen.
I knew you were gonna say it.
But listen, his rush yards, he was serviceable, good, serviceable. And then all of a sudden last week, we all expected him to get out and scramble and rush. And he does it. He looked like shit. He's on the hot seat. Garbage fucking game. One of the worst games of the year. He's going to come out in this game and he's just going to do a little bit of everything. And because he's going to do a little bit of everything, I like the naked Dobbs.
I'm actually with you. I'm with you on this. I agree with you. I think this is going to be very overlooked. Keely, we're going to have a lot of Dobbs ownership. Probably not, right?
Yeah, but Tommy, we're playing Justin Fields. You're not playing fucking Dobbs.
No. Obviously, Justin Fields is the number 1 play. But, if you're going 3 lineups, 5 lineups, whatever you're doing. I'm going to say this. Dobbs cannot make your number 1 lineup. He can't be your main lineup quarterback because he can get benched. That is something that they mentioned that they were mulling over benching him last week. But On the other side of it, I actually believe in Josh Dobbs. I actually think he's really good. He's smart. He's a fucking rocket scientist. We got to fucking remember that this kid just got to the fucking team a month ago, right? So they're coming off a bye week this week. This is a great opportunity for Josh Dobbs to really absorb the playbook, not have all the pressure of short weeks and having a million things going on. I think we see a different Josh Dobbs this week. You have Justin Jefferson was the number one fantasy pick in every single fantasy draft, and he's back this week. You can't say that's not going to help him tremendously to have him back. Not just a little bit, tremendously. Now, I do understand not wanting to pay $9K for Justin Jefferson with all the unknowns around him. I'm with Trevor, bro. You got 40, 50-yard rushing upside. You got rushing touchdown upside. We talked about Hawkinson. There's not much on this team. Madison is a fine play, I guess, but at 5,900, Dobbs could break a fucking slate. And I do not mind a Millie Maker lineup with Dobbs and Jefferson. I probably wouldn't go 3 Healy. I'd probably play it the same way we played Fields, because I think for Dobbs to get to his ceiling, he's going to have to rush for 40 and a touchdown. So I don't think there's 3-player equity there.
I'm with you guys on Dobbs. I'm with you.
I really like him. If it wasn't a bye week, I'd be a lot more nervous. I think we're good. But keep in mind, if he fumbles twice in the first quarter, he could get benched. That's why that can't be on your main lineup. But this is a very high delta, very high ceiling. As long as he plays the whole game, very high floor, in my opinion, lineup.
I don't mind it. His price is right. Like you said, if he rushes one in, spreads it around a little bit. I mean,
dude, Justin Jefferson's a fucking. The guy's the fucking Megatron. He's a fucking monster. You're just adding this guy to the lineup, and Dobbs has scored 24 3 times.
I would play him.
They're not going to feed him
in his price range.
They don't know, but what I'm saying is, Trevor, they don't have to feed him. That's why I'm not pairing him. Just his presence, his existence.
Yes,
they're going to feed him. He's healthy. He's coming off a bye. He could have played 2 weeks ago.
I would play him over Russell. I'd play him over other guys.
Yeah, dude. Justin Jefferson is a sneaky tournament play too. He is 100% healthy right now. He should have been in the lineup 3 weeks ago. That's what they were saying. He took a lot of heat for not going in 3 weeks ago, and he said he wanted to wait the extra 2 weeks to come out of the bye. But if it was a playoff game, he could have played 3 weeks ago. This dude's fine. He's 100% snap share. He's going to be going. It's just a matter of with Kirk Cousins in there, you knew you were getting 370 passing yards, so you could bank on 150 of them being the Jefferson. If we only think we're getting 240, 260 out of Dobbs, you're probably not going to get 150 out of Jefferson. So we have to see it first before we go all in on that, Healy.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dobbs is in my quarterback pool as it stands, but I'll note he's the third highest owned projected quarterback right now at about 11% on the week.
That's actually 11's okay. It's a little higher than I'd like to see it, but I think there'll be a little more. Hopefully, there'll be a little more buzz about him possibly getting benched coming out. Maybe we'll start it. Let's start tweeting about it like crazy, and then we can bring that down to like 7%. By the way, on this show, Dobbs getting benched. Don't play him. All right, San Fran, Seattle. Healy, this is a fucking very interesting game. The 10.5 line looks like they curb stomped the ever-living shit out of him, right? This is what you would imagine to be a letdown spot for the San Francisco 49ers, right? They're a fucking wagon. They're a machine. They went at Seattle, just did an absolute skull fucking on Thanksgiving, then went at Philly. That was their whole fucking biggest game of the entire year. Came out, skull fucked them. I could see a little drop-off. I could see a little letdown. But for me, I've been the Debo whisperer for the last 3 years. Scarface last week, we were all over Debo. I had him as my number 1 touchdown prop on the week. Had him everywhere. He was the slate breaker, believe it or not, because a lot of people had Tyreek. A lot of people had I don't think this is a Debo game. Debo shows up in the biggest of games. That's when he shows up. Thanksgiving, Philadelphia. This is a game where I think it's a CMC game, Peely.
I agree. And Purdy, one of those quarterbacks that is projected to be higher than Dobbs, second highest owned at around 16%. I think smaller field, he's upwards of 20, 22%. Again, he's been efficient.
I don't like him
been there.
I'm not on.
I don't either. I think this is a game where he might only see 22 to 25 attempts. If this game was in Seattle, yeah, I think this is a big letdown spot.
Right, exactly.
Maybe could get upset, but at home, yeah, maybe they don't cover the number, the 13, but I don't think this is a spot where Purdy comes out and puts up a ceiling game. I would lean into McCaffrey here. I'm not finding myself on any of these receivers. I just don't think the game's going to be super competitive.
It's very tough, too, because another like Debo, Scarface, Kittle's another one who shows up in big games at big times. A lot of times there's pass rushes. They kind of leave him in the block. He only had 19 yards against Seattle at Seattle. He's a guy who stays into block. It's very game for specific. If you're ever going to play Kittle, you got to understand Kittle, because there's games where they just play him as a tackle. So this, judging by the last game 2 weeks ago, with a similar game flow as we expect, Scarface, 3 catches, 19 yards, not going there. Don't think it's a Debo game. CMC all in. Brock Purdy threw for 200 yards against them last time they played, 11 fantasy points.
Yeah, and that game was on the road too. It's like this.
Yeah,
this could be a bigger it doesn't feel like it's going to be a competitive game whatsoever. I think the Seahawks kind of played a little bit out of their minds against the Cowboys the other day. I don't see this game being competitive. I can see the Niners kind of spreading the ball around. Ayuk getting a little bit, Purdy, throwing a couple, CMC getting his. It's hard with their prices. I don't know. My favorite play for the Niners definitely is going to be CMC. And he's not that hard to fit into most DraftKings lineups.
No.
I would probably go to him over the other guys.
I think he's too cheap this week. I think he should be like 10-4 this week, honestly.
Yeah, he's not hard to get to.
9,200 is.
Yeah, but he's in play every week. You can't. Yeah,
but no.
Bad play any
but
week.
This week, I think specifically, I mean, you got a lot of guys.
You're contradicting yourself to a degree. And Jerry, he just burned you because if you're saying that this is going to be such a blowout, we watched him sitting on the sidelines when you're.
He can get there in 3 quarters. He can get there.
Well, no, he's the guy that's going to get him there. I mean, there was a blowout. It was a blowout.
Unless Debo takes a jet sweep in and Purdy throws to Kittle.
Well, talking about the Niners as a stack. The Niners as a stack. You want the Niners stacked like they were last week against Philly.
Mike, that's not true. And the other factor is they did blow them out on Thanksgiving, and he had 34 fantasy points on 19 carries. I think he runs through them like a hot. I think he's got 24 fantasy points to half. I think that's how much they're going to.
It's a CMC game. If I'm going to go to anybody here, I'm not going to go to Debo here. Ayuk, I mean, he's not a bad play. I don't know how much upside he has. It's a CMC game. The other thing here, Scarface, we were talking about. I mean, there's no Tyreek on this slate, which is a big deal, right? Because you usually have to decide between Tyreek and CMC. And last week we said fucking play them both and figure it out. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys at 8,200. There's Kamara, St. Brown, Josh Allen, Jefferson, Keenan Allen, Diggs. There's a lot of guys $1,000 away from CMC, and he's the best play of all of them. And I'm not really worried about Diggs or Josh Allen, Jefferson just coming back. I'm on Braz on the decline, Kamara, in a spot where, yeah, he's fine. But I think it's a standalone CMC, whereas you don't have to make that Tyreek decision. I think it's all in. I may play him. If I were doing 100 lineups, I'd probably put him on 94 of them. Yeah, I mean, he's the best play in this game.
I'd go.
He's the one I'll click on first. The rest, I don't know if I'm going to get there. On the Seattle side, there's nobody I like on the Seattle side. Nobody. They got, we don't know what the deal is with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. I'm not going to sit here and try to guess. We haven't seen shit from Charbonnet yet. I'm not going to go to him on the main slate either. I just feel like the Niners just blow them out here.
Yeah. Also, we do have some stuff in the chat just popped. Good piece of news. I didn't see that. This broke around 5:30 p.m. Head coach Pete Carroll said Friday he's considering Smith a game time decision for Sunday. Something happened. Those late injuries late in the week are always worse. And we might have Drew Lock here. So you may have Drew Lock. You got a questionable Charbonnet and Walker. This could get fucking really, really ugly. Really?
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, even with Geno, without Geno, you can't get behind a Metcalf lock. And I think it's JSN from a value perspective. 4,100. You're not paying a ton, so you don't need a ton. Has big play upside. Expect him to be trailing, throwing the ball, regardless of it. And he's not
3Xing.
Yeah, and he's not a guy that, if the game gets out of hand, is going to get benched. He's still going to be out there running routes. So he's the only Seahawk I'd consider this week.
Mike?
I absolutely love what Healy just said there. And Jigba, obviously 11 targets last game, but I watched interviews and listened to even that dope Carroll, who I hate, saying that, that'll work him in, build some rapport. He's an exceptional talent. You're going to see a lot more of him. Love to hear that, right, from a coach. And at 4,100, I think it's a great spot for him, especially with the game script that we're all predicting that, the Niners are going to roll. So at 4,100, he's a great play, right, guys? But also I'm going to have to push back because I didn't get to finish my quote earlier. I love McCaffrey. I'm not arguing McCaffrey. He's fucking great. He's a smash spot. But what if? What if he does run the ball for 40 yards and gets 4 points, and then Purdy throws to Debo or Kittle will get in? I'm just looking at the opposite side, saying that he won't be there in the fourth quarter if what we predict is going to happen. So I was just a little wary about that. And if you miss out on 1 or 2 of those touchdowns early, but they're still coming, along with maybe a defensive one, he just might not be there in the fourth. So I do like Samuel. He dominates against the zone. Seattle runs top 3 zone defenses in the NFL, according to volume. And this is what Debo Samuel eats against. And he's also getting the handoffs. And it's also that time of year, which is very important for guys like us that have been watching and betting on football forever. There's certain things, certain times a year, right? The Niners go on that run, or Debo plays fucking unbelievable, right? And God forbid gets hurt. But I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and the best way to describe Deebo Samuel when you watch him is he is a fucking football player. I mean, there's no other way to say it. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. People bounce off him. He's got vision. He was hitting those sweeps and like letting the blocks develop.
My boy.
So fucking good. So not play him. I will have a lot of Samuel this week, and at 6,800, I think he's going to get a lot of burn. And he's in a perfect against the zone. So
yeah, I just worry this. They do kind of try to ease up on him because he gets hurt so much in games that don't really matter.
They didn't ease up last week. They were feeding him.
That's because it was the biggest game of the entire season. That's what I'm saying. Big spots, you go Deebo. They kind of try to lay off him a little bit. But we'll see.
Day, right? But
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Trevor.
So are you ready? Depending on the news, if we do have masterful Drew Lock starting this game, if he is starting this game, we are going to have a 3 or 6 points scored by Seattle, a San Francisco domination.
Are you just saying random words instead? I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm getting
You're going to have a 3 or 6 points scored by
Jordan
Seattle?
Mason.
Okay, so you're saying that if they does start, they're going to get blown out and only score 3 to 6 points, in which case the Niners are going to blow them out and you want to play a backup running back on San Fran.
Correct.
Okay.
Third string running back.
No. Mitchell's out.
Elijah Mitchell's
out?
He's probably not going to play. Yeah.
They announced it?
No, he's doubtful.
Oh, I like that, Trevor.
Like,
yeah.
I like that, saying, Trevor.
If Locke does start and they literally can't move the ball and the 49ers are up 35 to fucking 3 at halftime, Jordan's going to smash in the second half. He might even start smashing in the second quarter.
I don't think you guys realize
that
guys don't play the second half because of blowouts. So play the fourth quarter. So you're going to get a guy who's half the price for 25% of the quarters at 10% of the talent. That math doesn't add up.
Tommy, if they're winning 35 to 3, they are not going to.
Okay, so
CMC.
It doesn't matter. I don't want a quarter of anyone, even if he's 4,500. That's a showdown slate, maybe. But okay. I'm with you. I understand the logic in it, right? But what's the ceiling?
You have cheap starting running backs for cheaper.
Yeah, you have like 5K running backs. All over
Edwards on there.
Yeah, so I mean, I get it, but
we'll talk next week, gentlemen.
We will. Late slate,
Jordan Mason,
late slate, showdown.
We'll let's go next week. Let's fucking go next game.
Buffalo at Kansas City, Mike. I'm gonna give you the fucking bonanza on the board to start
Talk
with.
To me, Mikey. Talk to me, Mikey.
Pacheco is out this week, Mike. The reason I don't play Mason is because Pacheco is out, and we are basically going to be getting a number one back. We're going to get 2 backs in this game at $4,000, which I like better. Who do you like here, Mike, and why?
I mean, I already Healy led me in, and I did the little dance. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 4,200. He was already getting a little burn as it was, like playing more than anybody anticipated or just showing up. But now, yeah, with Pacheco, and it's a shame. Pacheco has been running fucking hard. He's a really explosive, powerful back, but volume-based. I mean, even McKinnon's fucked up, right? So Hilaire's going to get a lot of work here. I mean, it could also turn into now one of those 40 pass Mahomes games. So you got to actually obviously factor in Mahomes. Rashee Rice, de facto number one receiver, man. He developed right into that role. His targets have looked great. 9, 10 receptions, 8. He's catching the ball. I mean, he's the guy there now. He is his number one receiver outside of Kelsey, guys. I know I get it, tight end receiver, but I like Mahomes for obvious reasons. I like Rice. I heard something interesting on the radio, and I can't dispute it or confirm it, and I'd love to hear your opinion. I forget where I heard it. It was one of the shows, but they were saying that they believe that Kelsey looks like he lost explosiveness and a step. Now, I did notice on the last.
You can see that with your own eyes.
He ran a route on the goal line that looked funny to me. And he was kind of slinking it in, but he just kind of looked off. And I did note it, but then when I heard it on the radio, I was like, wow, I did remember it on that one play. I got to watch the whole game or whatnot, but something is a little off about it.
I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. We're going to go right into the conspiracy range because I said this on Stay Cashin' 6 weeks ago when the Taylor Swift stuff started. I said, Kelsey just took a bag. This relationship is fake. It is not real. It is completely scripted by the NFL. There's multiple reasons for this. Taylor wanted to get her music back. The NFL wanted her to play at the halftime of the Super Bowl. I think we could all agree this is a fake fucking statement. Well, let me show you. No, he hasn't done anything but kiss her.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
he's banging.
No, he hasn't. He likes black girls. He doesn't date skinny white girls. Every girl he's
Closes
dated
his eyes.
a curvy black girl. He's not dating a girl that's
They
built
haven't
like a
kissed.
man.
He closes his eyes.
Public. This is
Not
fake.
even a
guys.
smooch.
This is fucking fake. This is a fake relationship. Now, this is important because this is completely scripted and fake. It's coming into election season. There's a lot of reasons I won't get into on this, why they need this to happen right now. But Kelsey took $100 million bag behind the scenes for this thing, and Swift probably took a fucking billion behind the scenes. Once you get that kind of fuck you money, you don't fucking care anymore, dude. You don't fucking work as hard. You don't train as hard. You don't run as hard. You don't try as hard. And Kelsey has already whispered 2 weeks after I said it on the fucking show.
He went down to Argentina. He didn't hit it.
He didn't hit it. He also said, I don't think I want to play football much longer. He made that statement this year where he said he might retire because he's got a bag for this fake relationship. Kelsey doesn't care about football right now. He'll still be there. He'll be there in big games. He'll probably show up this week, but he's not in as good a shape.
He's going to turn into Gronk. He's going to turn into Gronk where he's
not working as hard.
Plays at the end.
No, he's just going to shut it down and have a reality show. Like that's in his podcast. Kelsey is not putting in the work behind the scenes that he was.
Mr. Pfizer?
Yeah, you can't. I don't like it, Healy.
I mean, it's also he's 34-year-old tight end. Like Gronk was still in his 20s when he retired. He's old. It's week 14.
No, I was scoring 40 fantasy points
There's no more
4 weeks ago.
Does Tay let him go out after the game? And
you guys are crazy.
They're not really dating.
You guys are
right.
Crazy.
Does Tay let him go out after the game?
After the game, no.
Get some tail.
The only time they see each other is when you see them.
Conspiracize to put these fucking two together and
yes.
Now this is definitely a week that I want to have some exposure to Patrick Mahomes coming off the loss. I expect him to put up a 4-touchdown performance.
Yeah, I think it's a big spot. I think it's a prop spot, right, Haley? If we're gonna go Fields and more, there's a place where you go play the Mahomes prop and get your exposure that way.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. Prime time, or if you're just building multiple, like 3 entry, I'm gonna have
slate,
2 Fields, one Mahomes type thing. I would like you or Bill Rupp's take. You guys are very good at quarterback rushing. I saw this one set at 30. That's kind of like I was hoping it was going to be in the mid 20s.
Yeah, 25 was.
He likes to run in these big
spots,
competitive
big
games.
Spots,
you
national
always
TV games.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this one is. I think him and Allen kind of find themselves running quite a bit in this game.
100%.
Kyler was aware 4,200. So great price. Doesn't have to do a whole lot. I mean, the concern is like this team constantly throws the ball from the 1 and 2 yard line. Like that's just what they do. They'll call 3 straight passing plays. It's frustrating to own the running backs in that spot, but they should get a few opportunities. So Edwards-Helaire firmly in play. You can even pair him. You can pair him with McKinnon if you want to go there. As Mike mentioned, though, he's been a little bit banged up. So I do prefer Edwards-Helaire. Rice is definitely the preferred pairing, especially at the price, but I don't think Kelsey's going to get much ownership. Obviously he has to get in the box 2 times really to smash the price tag. There's a lot of opportunity cost by not, really paying down because one of those guys typically is going to get you 12 to 15 points. So I like this side of the ball quite a bit. And then interested in Jerry's take. He typically nails this Bills team. So open to hearing what he's on here.
I'm lost on the Bills side outside of Josh Allen, Jerry. So talk to me.
I mean, I love when these two teams meet, and anyone that's been following me, like Healy said, for the last couple of years, knows how much I love to use Josh Allen, especially when he plays against the Chiefs.
Yes.
This is a make or break game for the Bills if they want to make the playoffs. So you know that Allen's just going to go all out in this game. He's just going to try to win this game. And I'd love to pair him with Diggs here, but it's kind of an expensive combo to get to.
Yeah.
I think the guy that I want to pair him with the most is Gabe Davis. We've seen him have monster games against the Chiefs in the past. It looks like he's going to be getting the better matchup here than Diggs is with the way the Chiefs run their defense. We're going to have to see if Dawson Knox is going to be playing in this game. If he is, it's going to be tough to pay up for a guy like Kincaid. Knox, I mean, he's probably a cheap option you might want to go to if you want to pair him with Allen. But I think Gabe Davis is my favorite play from the Bills side in this game. Like I said, he's had monster games against the Chiefs. He's getting a lot more involved in this offense. And I love Josh Allen here. I don't think anybody's going to be wanting to play him over Mahomes. I'll definitely play Allen over Mahomes here.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with Josh Allen in these spots.
Love Josh Allen.
Love him. And he's a different
try to win this game.
No one has a higher ceiling than him. He could score 50. Like, that's the type of upside he has. He has 300, 105 touchdown upside. So
these games are always crazy too.
Who has him as the quarterback in their season long in a must-win week?
Go.
A lot of people.
Brian Haley.
Correct. That's a solid answer. I agree with that, but I do.
One person in every league.
Yes. No. No. They might not be on the bubble like the said go.
That's not really something to brag about. Yeah.
I mean, I came from the cellar. I was 0-19.
You did. Go on, Jerry.
Beast.
Enough of Goat's fucking seasonal fantasy.
Ghost?
Top Goat. Yeah. Why don't you ghost the seasonal fantasy talk?
I mean, nothing much to touch on with the Chiefs side. You know, it's the running backs. It's Rashee Rice. A sneaky play you want to get to. I think Sky Moore.
Come on, say Shakir. You missed it.
I think Sky Moore is a little sneaky here.
You missed it.
He's cheap.
It,
like they're.
I'll go. I got a head-to-head for you here then, because my sneaky play in this game is I just spoiled it. Is Khalil Shakir.
I like Shakir too, man. I like all the Bills pass catchers here, outside of Kincaid because Knox is back. But I like all those guys. I love Diggs. The problem with Diggs is the price. Diggs is going to get his. Is he going to have that? Is he going to pay off that price? I don't know. He's got
to have one of those like 10 for 130 and a touchdown type games if it's going to get you off.
Him, you know, and it's hard. Like I tried building out lineups with Allen and Diggs.
You can do it.
You can do it. You can
do it because there's so many good 5K guys.
Really need the rest of the lineup to hit. I think the easier way to go is with Gabe Davis. I think Gabe Davis is going to get.
Problem with Davis, I agree with you on this. The problem with Davis is he scores like fucking.
That's the thing with him.
He scored under
Gabe
5.
Davis is going to fuck you, or
he can fucking blow your whole lineup up. So I do agree with that. But if I'm going like a main lineup, top 3 lineup with Josh Allen, I'm more okay with the Khalil Shakir, who basically his worst game in the last 3 has been 9 points, 7 points. I could take that at 3,900.
The thing with Shakir is you're getting Knox back. So like there's
I know I get it 100%. I'm playing Allen. I'm playing Allen naked. I'm playing Allen naked, or I'm playing him with Diggs and McCaffrey, but I'm not playing. You can't get to Allen, McCaffrey, and Diggs. It's really hard to do.
Would you rather do naked Allen or naked Fields?
That's why you pair him with Gabe Davis.
Naked Allen. Naked Allen's the best play on the entire board. But the thing about naked Allen is now that we're talking about all this, yes, he's got backs who can catch the ball. He's got Diggs. He's got Gabe Davis. He's got Shakir. He's got Kincaid. He's got fucking Knox. He could throw 5 touchdowns to 5 different people in this game throw 4 and run 1 in. It's not unreasonable.
Like he did against the Philly the other night.
I only pair up an expensive rushing quarterback if I know exactly who the fucking ball's going to 30% of the time. And I don't here. And I'm not going to pay $9,000 for the guy who's going to get
on Allen as is. So when you take a chance on Allen, you take a chance on one of his pass catchers.
You don't need to.
You don't need to, but
because he can get there with 82 last week, 81-2 on the ground.
But you need a Davis with him. All the Allen Davis lineups had Davis with him.
Dude, you have to understand Davis is 5,800. Do you understand how much goodness there is right now in that 5,800 range with Garrett Wilson, Rashee Rice? All these guys are in there.
You can play them all.
Drake London. Yeah, but I don't need to take a chance. You can build
your entire lineup with those mid-range guys.
I don't need to take a chance on a guy who could score me 2 when I know I got 15-20 coming out of Garrett Wilson and these other guys like that.
You don't know for a fact Garrett Wilson's getting shit.
But I know he's not going to score 0.
Who's got the better quarterback? You're trying to tell me that Gabe Davis is in a worse spot than
who's going to have the target share? I don't give a fuck who the quarterback is. Garrett Wilson's going to get 50% of the fucking target share. Gabe Davis might get
Zach Wilson. Give me the connection with Davis and Allen over Wilson and Wilson.
So many guys there in Buffalo right now. I'm with it. I think the Millie Maker winning lineup is going to have both if Allen goes off and all that. But I'm telling you, man, you go get 35 out of Josh Allen, you're sitting on a 4 out of Gabe Davis, you're going to fucking shoot yourself in the head.
We can agree that Josh Allen is a fucking great play.
Josh Allen is a great play, yes. And if
Jerry,
you want to
do you think he's better than Fields naked if you had to pick one?
For the price?
Yeah, he's just more expensive.
Look, for the upside, give me Allen.
Okay. For Billy, same thing, and Trevor? I heard Tommy obviously said Allen.
Yes. Upside, Allen, safe.
Allen.
Who's going to be higher owned between Fields and Allen?
Fields.
Oh, Fields by far.
Fields by a lot. Yeah, by a lot.
Yeah.
Let's move over to this just because. Yeah, go on, Haley.
I was just I mean, quarterback ownership's immaterial. We're talking like 3 to 5% delta.
Let's get this game done quick. I got to get the fuck out of here. Denver at the LA Chargers. What are we looking at here, Brian? Keenan Allen, Eckler's fucking fat. What are we doing here?
I mean, both running backs, like on paper, look extremely intriguing, and the DraftKings really tempting you to pull that trigger on Eckler. He's down to 7,600, but
Kelly's getting too much. Kelly's getting too much run right now.
And Kelly sucks, which is the worst part of it all.
Because
Kelly did nothing, if you guys recall. He sucks.
But Broncos, you're not beating them. I mean, Allen obviously volume monster, but I'm not paying 8,600 hoping he catches 15 balls in this one
against a run funnel defense.
Exactly. Like that, the run funnel really just sets up. Like Eckler probably gets into the box this week, but still might not like smash that price tag. So
Healy, here's the answer. It's what we talked about before. You don't got to go pay 7,600 for Eckler. Just go take a bunch of money and put it on Eckler to score a touchdown.
Yep. Yeah, I would completely agree with that.
He's got to score 2 to get there at 7,600. So just bet the fucking touchdown and 2 touchdown prop and leave your DFS lineup alone.
Yeah, and then Javonte on the other side, a good matchup on paper. It's tough, right? Like if you want to pivot off of a Moss, if you want to do that in tournaments, he's viable right there. Should be a fraction of the ownership and arguably getting a pretty good workload if this game stays competitive. So don't mind him. And then Sutton would be the wide receiver to take a shot on. He's clearly Russ's kind of number one look this season.
Yeah. Jerry, I kind of like the Russ Sutton situation here. I like either of them naked or with each other. It's a little bit contrarian.
I agree with him on Sutton. I wouldn't play Russ, but Sutton is the guy for me. I mean, the Chargers have given up big games to receivers this year. Sutton's price is pretty fair on both sides. I think he could find the end zone again this week. He's been finding it how many weeks in a row now? And like he said with Eckler, it just that price is too cheap. He like you said, he can get into the box. Who knows if he has the upside to, like, let's say, win you a tournament. But if we were to find out that Eckler is going to be limited in any way, like in the next
limited with his fat.
If he's limited, then I would definitely want a little bit of Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I wouldn't overlook Russ so quick. 21 carries in the last 2 games, rushing touchdown in each of them. If this game could pace up, then we could actually see a 250 out of Russ here.
Would you play Russ over Dobbs?
No, I'd feel more comfortable with Russ. Yeah, if I was playing cash game, I'd play Russ over Dobbs. Or if I was playing like a single entry, I might consider Dobbs' ceiling's higher. Russ is scoring 18 every single game. I mean, 18, 17.6, 15, 18.7, 18.5, and 21 carries in the last 2 games. He's 5,800. We need what?
Is Russ winning you a tournament?
No. That's what I'm saying. He's probably not going to win you a tournament. That's why I probably wouldn't do it. But if I'm playing a cash game, Russ may be one of the guys I would look to first with the floor against the 28th ranked pass defense in the NFL. I mean, it's an opportunity. I'm just saying, I think this is more of a ceiling opportunity for Russ, which his ceiling is probably still only 23, but that's over 4x at his price. But Healy?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Dobbs we talked about it. He has the risk of being benched in the game.
Can't play that on your main lineup. Constantino?
From a tournament perspective, I mean, I like Herbert. I mean, it sounds crazy. He's priced up. No one's going to be talking about him. They're talking that their running game is in the fucking toilet. And if they're talking about bench and Eckler, which they should kind of, but then the solution is fucking Kelly. I mean, it's horrible. It's going to be one of those games where Herbert passes the ball 45 times. So I have a lineup I'm looking at right now. I started with Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Gerald Everett. And, it's going to be very low owned and expensive. And
very low in the standard.
I get it, but again, tournament. I'm making a stance on it and saying that I would try it. And Jerry, no one knows more than you, Healy, and Tommy, of course, and Go. I guess I'm the only one that don't know. Then apparently, according to you guys, but you got to kind of do something zig when someone's zagging, right? I don't know. Well,
it's kind of your Bryce Young ball.
But not my single entry, not going to make my 3 max. But if I'm playing like the large field, main event, and I'm not max entering, I don't max enter, right? So I got to get my leverage.
You're spending $16,300 on Keenan Allen and Herbert.
You're going to be different to a degree. Yeah, but I also have in that lineup Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who gives me a little salary relief at 4,200. I have the Jets defense at 2,900.
You could play Mims, Judy, and Quentin Johnson as your wide receiver.
You could have Njigba at 4,100.
Right.
Either way, I'm not touting it. I'm not saying that like it's my die on the sword, but I think it's a way to get different with something that I can say. Listen, get right spot. Everybody's under fire on that Chargers staff, the team, whatnot. They're at fucking home, which I know they don't have a home advantage, whatnot, but they're playing. I know it's on
the only way I would say,
Dolphins,
right? And we got
not that good of a defense.
I know. Here's the way I would say it. I think you get Justin. I think you get Justin Herbert by playing Keenan Allen. I don't think you need to play both. I think if that's 7,500 for Herbert, I think if he goes off, Keenan Allen's going to go off. And I think
single entry, again, I'm saying a complete dart throw. I'm hoping that they triple go off and they just have a smash spot. And then they get a little salary release for Everett. Everett at 3,400. You know,
I was going to give you the Millie Maker GOAT play of the day.
Everett.
Yeah, Everett. You talk about watching guys. They look fat. They look slow. They look old. Look at this motherfucker. He looks fast. He's running good routes. He's getting more involved. Everett could be that guy this week. I really like Everett.
I like him 3,400. That's the play I would go with.
I've been holding this in, like, bro, let's fucking go. And I wanted to let Everett out. All
right, you let it out. I gotta fucking go. Everyone, shut up. All right, we're not going over our favorite plays. We're not going over our must plays in the lineup. Brian Healy has mandated you have to sign up at 4Deep to get that information. And all our plays could change by Sunday because a lot of shit's gonna happen between now and then. You can come on. All our articles will be out. Cheat sheets will be out. Discord popping 24 hours a day for the next 48 hours. Ask questions, change out your lineups. Let us know what you're doing. Get over to 4deep.com, number 4deep.com, promo code RUP45, RUPP45 for 45% off the weekly and the monthly. Final words, Jerry.
Read, my friend. Sign up and read.
Read the articles. Healy.
Didn't want to lead with this because it's not a proud moment, but Desmond Ridder over Bryce Young last week. Me and Tommy win the bet over Jerry and Mike. We're going to collect that 500
I'm
this
hot
week.
right now. Don't bet me right now.
Yes,
I'm hot.
But
I'm hot.
Yeah, I will say this is going to be a really good week. Come on over, 4deep.com. Birds by 100 Sunday Night Football.
Birds by 100. Let's go. Constantino.
I'll read Tommy's text. Karma is the guy from the Chiefs.
I didn't text that.
Trevor, let's go. Fucking December to remember. Guys, knowledge is power. I mean, you got guys here that are fucking the best. I mean, like in it every week, great knowledge. And you can hear we're not always on the same thing. And we don't mind stepping on each other's feet a little bit to argue points. So get signed up. This lasts all day long in the Discord. You know, all the knowledge, all the shows. And I give all of our handicappers credit that everybody's always available. You tag somebody, it might not be immediate if it's 4 a.m, you know, on voice, but everybody gets back to everybody.
I'll be there on 4. I'll be there on 4 in the morning. Yeah,
Tommy's there 4 in the morning.
That's time to get to me. I'll be there at 4 in the morning. Yeah.
He's asleep by 6.
Goat.
If I think it, I say it. No filter. Let's fucking go this weekend.
Attaboy. For Scarface, Brian Healy, Constantino, and the GOAT, I am Tommy G. Good luck. Stay catching, motherfuckers.
Now let's go. Birthday.